how could I use your tool? Or is there just trends you've seen in general that you've noticed that are interesting to you that might be interesting to somebody who's watching this?
Sure. So something that I would like to add in the future are more top-level down metrics to more easily select which city you want to dive into. We do have some like high-level things like just hottest markets as a list. But in terms of trends for what's going on in the market, some things that I've just observed are a lot more price drops. As of recently, I don't have an exact number, but I could bring that forward to the webinar of a little more time for research, as well as more properties that are coming back on market. It seems like there's some buyer's remorse of those who get under contract. Interest rates are still climbing. Maybe they didn't fix theirs earlier. So they're looking at the payment now of what that would actually be. And they're deciding to, you know what, I could do another year living at my parents' house or wherever I currently stand, and the property goes back on market. I think that's also a great opportunity for possibly your listeners to try to acquire those properties. Those sellers are definitely motivated.
All right, welcome back to the show, guys. Guys and girls, we have a great show. Today we're going to talk about tech in real estate and how we can use technology to find more deals and find the hidden gems too. I think the hidden gems are maybe the neighborhood is filled of 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes, and we find a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, and if we add that extra bed or bath, we can create a lot of value. And so what if there was a technology that could help do this for you? And that's really the premise of the show today, what we can do as real estate investors and couple that with technology, right? Like where we can do better forecasting, where we can look at properties out of state and understand what the rental market is going to do. Because that's always challenging when you're in California and you're trying to buy a house in Indiana as a rental, right? It's like, well, what is this duplex really going to get rent for? So we're going to dive into all these topics and more on today's show. Please welcome Ariel. How do I say your last name?
Herrera.
There we go, guys. Got it. So
Thank
welcome
you.
to the show. Where are you based out of?
I'm based out in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, okay. I'm in Las Vegas, so on the complete other side of the country, but that's good. So
Both hot climates.
That's right, except you got humidity and I don't. So your background is a data scientist, so AKA you're a nerd in a good way.
100%. Always in the spreadsheets, diving through data. That's my role.
So what attracted you to real estate? Talk to us about like when you got into real estate and how you initially used your background to start investing.
Sure. So I started in the data science field about 9 years ago, and 5 years into it, I was commuting into New York City, my 2-hour one-way commute. And in that perspective, I just sat for a moment and realized like, I just can't do this for the rest of my life. I want to have options at the very least. So to be able to achieve financial freedom, started to research how people become millionaires. And the one consistent theme throughout the decades and centuries is real estate. So with that, I started to dive into real estate a bit more. And I realized the data is everywhere. I just wanted to analyze my own deals and see in New Jersey at the time where I was living, what would be the best markets. And it was nearly impossible to do that from end to end. So that's why I went on the journey as a real estate investor. While I tried to analyze my own deals and acquire the data and automate processes, I'll document it and put it on YouTube. And that's how Tech and Real Estate channel was born.
Very cool. So give me an example of your app. I'm going to call it an app that you created, how it can benefit real estate investors.
Yeah, so I am a founder of Coffee Clozers. It's an app to help real estate investors find deals in minutes rather than months. So initially, as I started the YouTube channel, I got a lot of requests of, hey, can you help me analyze a deal automatically? So I started to build out spreadsheets and ultimately these little tools where you can plug in an address and you can get estimates from different sites like Zillow, Redfin, etc., and be able to have a more accurate analysis of that property. But then I got the next question. Well, hey, I'm not trying to invest in my backyard. It's too expensive. I live maybe in San Francisco. How do I know where to invest out of state? So that's where I started to gather information about economic data as well as demographic data, and try to find what the right location, even down to smaller than zip code to tract that is up and coming to be investing in. So kind of coupling those two parts of automatically being able to analyze a deal and finding a deal in the best location, we've married those both for the app Coffee Clozers.
So let's break that down a little bit. So if I wanted to look here in Las Vegas, for example, so I would go in. Does your app work nationally?
It does for the top 55 cities. So
Okay.
Las Vegas is one of them.
Okay, so I go in and I want to buy an investment property here, right? So will it kind of queue up? So walk me. Actually, the next time we meet, I'd love for you to do a live demo. We'll do that
Yeah.
probably on Zoom. On a meetup, I have a real estate investor club, so this would be a great topic to do for a live event. We'll do it as a webinar or call them workshops. So so walk me through what I'm going to be doing inside the app when I first get it. Hey, I want to buy something close to me. I already own a bunch in Indiana and Pennsylvania, and I get that, but I want to now, even though I'm not getting the same cash flow, I want to find the best, market local to me. How would your app help me?
Yeah, so the next steps is first selecting a city, and then you'll be met with a map and a list of properties, very similar to what you see today, like on a site like Zillow. But our maps are a little bit more fine-tuned than that. So we have gentrification heat maps that help to identify up and coming areas. So say if you were looking for a new area to invest in on your own and you had the ability to walk the streets, you probably look for maybe new Whole Foods restaurants, as well as maybe different bars that are in the area or soon coming to it. You'll probably look for big box stores like Amazon Warehouse, for example, or Walmart. So these are all attributes that we're pulling in as well. We're looking at population stats, employment to see areas that are increasing. And from there, your view, since we're doing all that in the back end, is a map that is highlighted in different colors, those areas that are more gentrified. So maybe you're not looking for something up and coming. You're looking to cash flow at the start, and you're okay with maybe less cash flow to be in a neighborhood. But if you're willing to take that risk and go for maybe a B- neighborhood with the idea of it appreciating for a higher rate, maybe 5 years out, that's where our maps really excel.
Got it. That's cool. So okay, that makes sense to me because then I can find an area that's gentrifying here. And back in the day, so when I started in real estate, I've been in real estate lending at least since 2019, 2020. So a long time. And then I really started investing probably at the worst time, but in around 2005. And I started buying stuff in like Reno, Nevada, the other side of Nevada. And I was going into speculative areas, but I called it the Walmart thing. Wherever they were building a Walmart, I would start looking at real estate, thinking like Walmart knows demographics, right? They know the population trends. So I would kind of use that as a tool, like, hey, this area is really growing because they just put a Walmart in and it makes sense. And it was a big box Walmart. But really what your tool can do is it's pulling all these algorithms in, these data points, right? And it's saying, okay, there's a distribution center. All these things are happening. And so that's how your map then heats up saying, hey, this is probably a good area that's gentrifying that if, 2 to 3 years from now will probably be appreciating pretty well in rent growth. Is that, in a nutshell, what the technology does?
Yeah, exactly. You summarized it very well. And one thing that I do want to add that we are soon adding to our gentrification heat maps is also flipping, because that's a good indication if a particular area has a lot of flips happening, that it is maybe on the cusp of becoming C+ to maybe B-, for example. So we are adding that into our maps, as well as like even the streets that are currently hot as being flips. So we're really excited about that too.
That's cool. That's good. I mean, this is a really good app for real estate investors that are looking, whether it's local or in a larger MSA or in one of the 55s you covered. And I'm imagining eventually you're going to branch out to the tertiary markets as well as you grow the platform. Is that accurate?
100%. Yeah, that's our next plan is a lot of investors, their strategy is maybe not being directly in the city, but being in those suburb towns right around it. So we want to capture those cities next. And then the goal eventually would be going nationwide.
Yeah, that's great. And so you're gonna, the platform's obviously developing. It's going to be more robust as you roll out new developments. So what other developments in the app do you see that would be valuable that maybe not tomorrow, but in the next year or two that you're going to be also bringing in?
Yeah, some things that we'd like to bring in the future is also help you review your properties over a period of time and provide strategies. So based on the market data for that particular area and your property suggesting, hey, it might be the right time to do a 1041 exchange and move up. These are the properties that would be available in that same area. Those are some things that we want to do. In the near term, though, things that we do have is allowing you to find properties that have additional value add opportunity. So what that means is properties that twofold. One, are ADU eligible. So what that means that you can add a bedroom, or you could add a mother-in-law suite, say in the back. Why that's important is affordable housing. There's not enough homes, a lot more people that need to live in a particular area. So if you can capitalize on that, on finding a property that's already zoned as ADU, it could really help to increase your cash flow. And then on the second end of that, which we already have out, is additional bedrooms. You kind of teased this a little bit earlier too, that we look at ratio of size of home versus a number of bedrooms, because likely you can maybe squeeze in or change the dining room into an additional bedroom and again increase your cash flow.
So that was another thought I had. So this might be good for people that are doing co-living, pad split, these kind of, right? Like, so there's a lot of opportunities with what you're developing and what you've already got on your platform. Was your platform, did you raise money to build this out, or is it all bootstrapped at this point?
We've raised money thus far. We're backed by Jason Calacanis from the All In podcast.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, that's exciting. I got to try your platform out now. It sounds really cool, and there's like lots of opportunity, because I think people get stuck. And the one question I did have on the platform, so is it bringing in feeds of listings that are active, or is this just general real estate pulling, city, general homes? It's not just feeding live listings. How does that work?
Yeah, so currently it's on market listings and we update daily to pull those in. However, we are expanding to off market. Likely it might even be out by the time this recording comes out. But we're not pulling all off market data, just those that we deem to be with the most motivated sellers, which I could get into as well.
Wow, this is cool. And
trying to remove the trash so that you don't spend endless amount of time just browsing.
Is this a monthly subscription or annual? You can do monthly or annual with your platform?
Yeah, it's currently monthly. We have select a city for $25 a month currently, and then if you want to look across the whole US, $100 a month.
Cool. That's good. And basically you can do unlimited searches and research, right, with the platform now, as long as you have that city.
And it's a 7-day free trial, so it's easy to start.
God, is the All In podcast? Is that with that's not with who's the host of the All In podcast? What's his name?
I should know this from the top of my head, but Jason Calacanis, he's one of the co-hosts on it.
Okay. Yeah, I have to just look. That's cool. So let me ask you. So you're a data scientist, and I would assume you're a pretty introverted person, but you don't seem very introverted because you have a podcast. Was it hard for you to start your podcast or your YouTube show?
That's a great question. Definitely a nerd, but I do enjoy socializing as well. And in data science, I'm more of like front forward. So I'm speaking directly to stakeholders when I have projects, not just in the background coding. But starting the podcast initially was a bit of a challenge for tech in real estate, just because there were so many different moving parts. And I didn't realize how much goes into marketing, building a small team, even if it's out in the Philippines, and how to pull everything together to have a systematized process.
Meet Bo Eckstein, the driving force behind Business Ownership Coach. Unlocking the path to business ownership. Visit www.businessownershipcoach.com. Thrive with Business Ownership Coach.
Talk to me about how you've used your platform to help you identify a deal. Have you, obviously, or even before the platform, give me an example of whether it's you or a colleague that used, the data science to find a great deal.
Definitely. So after March of 2020, I was still living in New Jersey at the time, and I realized I used to work from home twice a week, which was amazing. And I realized now that everyone is doing the same thing, working from home, a lot of people for the first time, they're going to fall in love with it and realize they don't have to live so close to the proximity of the city that they work in. So my partner and I, we decided we're going to move as soon as possible so that we can leverage moving to a city that's maybe going to appreciate over the next couple of years and just grow wealth really quickly there. So from there, my mission was to move by June of 2020. So I was starting to do all this research of out-of-state markets. And at that time, there wasn't really that much travel going on. So couldn't actually even go in person if I wanted to walk the streets of these places. So from there, I was pulling in data from the US Census to look at population trends, opening up Google Maps and literally just scouring between different streets to see what was around, looking for the nearest hospitals, all these little attributes to find what is a good area to be in, 20 minutes from a city, near hotspot local things, and also in a smile state. So those are the bottom half states, especially ones that have no taxes. I saw as being probably more preferable for those if they can work remotely. So that mission probably took 30 days of research and then ultimately 30 days of making that decision on the property and then moving in. And I think that was what really drew me into, wow, I have all this data in my head and what to do with it and how to find a particular location for a good property, but I'm not able to succinctly put that together in my tech and real estate podcast as of yet, or in an app. And that's where I started to pair off with two other folks to build this application together, which basically takes everything that I just explained, but into an app.
Is your software or app, is it pulling any demographics as far as population growth to zip code specifics? For example, Las Vegas, I actually live in Henderson, the city over, but Las Vegas has got, different zip codes, obviously. And I'm actually actively looking for a move up for me to move to find kind of a fixer upper that's got a half-acre lot, and so I have certain zip codes I'm pinpointing. Nice. But I'm curious to see, will that, when I'm looking, if I buy the Las Vegas market, for example, and I'm paying the $25 because I just want this one city, is that going to allow me to see which zip codes are getting the most popular? What exactly will I be able to kind of see as far as trends?
Yeah, great question. So for your scenario, one of the deep parts is if you're looking for fixer-uppers, we actually have a flag on that. So we use an AI model to read descriptions and analyze whether or not it's likely a fixer-upper, which has gotten pretty good. So you would likely select that as your filter. Then you would see in the map the different areas highlighted. You could use two of our maps, the gentrification one or the neighborhood one. You'd likely use a gentrification because it goes even deeper than zip code, but down to the tract. From there, as you start to click into these tracts, you'll see population over the last 5 years, move-in rates over the last 5 years, and additional information like the flips that I mentioned, which streets are being flipped the most, as well as the count for those. So I think that information would help to feel confident in that particular area that you would be interested to invest in.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, here's what I know, that with technology, things are changing so fast, and with AI. So if you're a real estate investor or aspiring real estate investor, this is probably something that you should get really familiar with. We talk about, creating a buy box, and I think the data points here are very good to create your buy box. And so I would do the 7-day trial, and like, obviously, if you're looking to either invest locally or out of state, you could use this tool, and it's going to help you filter your search and identify potential opportunities. Because that's part of the problem, is that unless you're scouring the MLS or looking at off-market deals, you're not going to find anything. If you have something, so here's my next question. Can I set up automated searches so when there's something that fits a parameter, it pings me? That's your you should build that.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. As of right now, no. But now that you mentioned it, yeah, 100%. It's been on our backlog, but if there was enough interest of having those notifications sooner than later, we could push that towards the front.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be interesting. Like, I set up auto search on MLS and stuff, like many of us do. But if it could do, hey, I'm looking for, something that's got potential for, 5 bedrooms, maybe it's, you set up, because like what I used to do back when I could just buy flips off the MLS, this was like 2012, I would just set up the auto searches, and it would just feed me. So like, I do that with Zillow now. I have my real estate license here in Nevada, but also I'm a California broker. I don't really actively sell real estate anymore. But I represent myself when I buy stuff. And part of the thing that slows me down is that it takes time to find, right? So the quicker I can search and so I could definitely search and use the tools. And I do think ultimately, if you could have like a save search, like a thing where I could put in, this is my parameters I'm looking for, and when it hits a new listing or whatever, or price reduction, if it falls into that thing, it pings me. That would be really good. But obviously, the thing about what you're developing is it's going to be an ever evolving machine, really, right? Like, because as you fine tune it, there's going to be more and more updates to what the technology can do, and that's the cool thing. And
yeah,
so that's
exactly.
Yeah.
And the exciting piece is that since I'm an investor as well, a lot of it can be from like pain points that I have, or I could more easily draw like feedback from others on what we can improve on. And the time to actually get our features out is a lot quicker than most companies, where the people usually aren't investors. They might not understand the scope as well. They need a project manager to fully scope everything out. Next thing you know, a simple feature like changing a button could take like weeks. Whereas for us, it's very fast development.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there anything you have identified, or somebody that, like, kind of my curiosity now with this conversation so far is, like, kind of global or national trends you're seeing? Like, is there a trend in certain states that you're seeing? Like, is there a lot of demand in the Midwest? Is there any trends that, like, you can, like, if I just wanted to canvas the US, right, and I had all the access to what you have right now with the 55 MSAs, let's call it, I'm wondering if there's trends that I would see as far as certain states that seem to be on the rise versus certain areas that are in the decline now. So like, if I wanted to go in, let's say, and I'm open to investing anywhere that makes sense based on, cash flow and price points and so forth, is how could I use your tool? Or is there just trends you've seen in general that you've noticed that are interesting to you, that might be interesting to somebody who's watching this?
Sure. So something that I would like to add in the future are more top level down metrics to more easily select which city you want to dive into. We do have some like high level things, like just hottest markets as a list. But in terms of trends for what's going on in the market. Some things that I've just observed are a lot more price drops as of recently. I don't have an exact number, but I could bring that forward to the webinar of a little more time for research, as well as more properties that are coming back on market. It seems like there's some buyer's remorse of those who get under contract. Interest rates are still climbing. Maybe they didn't fix theirs earlier. So they're looking at the payment now of what that would actually be. And they're deciding to, you know what, I could do another year living at my parents' house or wherever I currently stand, and the property goes back on market. I think that's also a great opportunity for possibly your listeners to try to acquire those properties. Those sellers are definitely motivated.
Yeah, I talk to so many different investors. I have a lot of friends and colleagues that are doing co-living, and I've never done a co-living place, but they actually was talking to a guy, and he's got 2 in Las Vegas here, and he does very well on them. It's a little bit more management intensive, unless you set up a management company. I have another guy that has like 145 beds, mostly in North Carolina, that I'm friendly with. He does very, very well with that. So I think this tool would be great for them because they can identify the opportunities where they can, they find the right house where they can have a lot of those. They're creating it's a 4-bedroom house and it becomes like a 7 or 8 bedroom house, so to find those floor plans, right? If you're getting $950 or $1,000 per room. So God, there's a lot of things you can do using technology. And I guess that's the point of your YouTube show, Tech and Real Estate. And then your website for the app, is that a mobile app or can you go, is there a desktop version for that as well?
Yeah, it's both. So it's called Coffee Clozers. Clozers spelled Clozers, coffeeclozers.com. You could use it both desktop and on mobile as well.
Okay, great. Well, let's definitely plan on doing a demo. We'll do it on my meetup. I have a real estate investor association, or I guess that's what I call it. It's called Thrive, REIA. When I lived in California, we used to do in-person meetups. But now I do virtual ones. So I'd love to have you there, and we could do it on Zoom and do a screen share, and we could just walk through and show case studies, and maybe we'll do some slides and things and just show people, open their mind to what's possible with technology. When you merge technology and real estate together, you can make good decisions that are backed by data. And that's, I think, is good to show people, not just the old school ways of going to Craigslist and pulling rent comps and different things like that. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a great episode. And everybody, you can go to, your handle on YouTube is Tech and Real Estate. So just go in the search bar, Tech and Real Estate, and you'll find her channel. And then you can go to Coffee Clozers with a Z, .com, and you can try out the app for 7 days for free. And then it's $25 per city, or you can do the whole 55 MSA, 55 MSAs, I guess we'd say, or cities for $100 a month, which is very palatable. So I would suggest, if you're interested, go do the free demo and see if it's something that you could utilize in your search for your next investment property. Or it could be a move and flip like I've been talking about. I mean, it could be your first investment. It could identify a house hack opportunity. It doesn't necessarily need to be a rental property. So just think, I'm buying my first house. The new conventional loans allow for up to 4 units. You can get 95% financing. Maybe you look for a fourplex. Can you do searches specific to unit count, or is it just single families at this point?
We do have some multifamilies on the platform, and we could eventually get it to the point that we have the number of units that you could select.
That would be cool. I mean, just even 1 to 4. I'm not even talking about multifamily, 5+. Just, hey, I'm looking for a duplex. Because when I buy out of state, I usually buy duplexes or fourplexes. Duplex, triplex, fourplexes. Sometimes some single families. Anyways, everybody, hope you enjoy this show. We're going to have her back on as a guest because there's a lot more. I think the next YouTube show we'll do as a demo would be probably more enjoyable for people to see what we're talking about in action. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Bo.
Hey guys, Bo Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.